Donald Trump is on trial. Just a couple of words about this debate thing. It's a little bit strange to have a debate in June for the presidential candidates. Joe Biden apparently yesterday or this morning challenged Trump to debates, one in June and one in September. June is a weird time because it's before the Republican National Convention in July. It's before the Democratic National Convention in August. In other words, they're not official candidates at that time. And I don't know what difference that would make other than I don't really know why the Biden campaign was interested in such a thing. I can speculate on a couple of things ranging from like sort of the more ridiculous and fantastical to the more practical, or I should say strategic. The most fantastical is that Biden wants to make sure that everything's fine at the convention. I don't know what would change. And he might be also wants to make sure that just it's all locked in for both Biden and Trump before the conventions. In some ways, maybe make them anticlimactic. I know that the Biden campaign wants to take as much of that convention online as possible because I think they're a little concerned about protests. I don't think it's a question of like, will there be a different candidate? But I think the idea is that they want to have that notion that the nomination is locked up and that the convention is really an afterthought. And so that in the event that they make it less prominent to downplay what is sure to be sort of like a lot of protests, that's one of the potential reasons they're doing it. The other is, I suspect that the Biden campaign also feels the more the American public sees Donald Trump, the better for the Biden campaign. And Trump really has been out of the public eye in many respects, except for like a 2-minute thing at the courthouse and an occasional rally. But there hasn't been the sort of exposure to Donald Trump that you might want, considering how unpopular he was when he left office. Maybe there'll be more theories and more reporting as we come on, but those are the two big ones, as far as I can tell. We will be covering it. We will be doing it in a very sleuthy and clandestine way because CNN tends to try and ping us for copyright, even though that we clearly changed the nature of the product because we're talking through it throughout the whole thing. Sort of
Ideal value add changing of a product.
It's a value add. It is certainly derivative. And let's be honest, like, should we really have any media enterprise be able to lock up the rights to a presidential debate? I mean, it's one thing to say like, we bought a contract from the NBA, but this is supposed to be a civic service.
Exactly. It should be completely open and pickable for anybody to comment on.
But we will figure out. We always persevere. So we will deal with that. And yeah, it's fair use without a doubt. And usually, we don't get sued. What happens is they ping us, they get demonetized, we get threatened with our live streaming, and then it gets resolved. So, it's not, and it's not just us. I should make that clear. We're not being singled out. I don't want to make this a, Dave Rubin cry fest or a Steven Crowder cry fest or a Tim Pool cry fest. Hot off of, like I said, the trial's going on. Donald Trump has a gag order, and he has basically, it's almost like an X-Men or a Super Friends episode where Donald Trump is ordering all of the Republican vice presidential wannabes, all of the Republican leadership, all of the most cuckful Republican wannabes in the country.
Doug Burgum was there.
He has summoned them like with a bat signal, and they all show up to read what is, there is some reporting suggesting Trump has like written to them what he wants them to say because he's got a gag order. Here, off of his really impressive showing in finding common ground with Ann Coulter and apparently a lot of Republican voters that he is unqualified to be president because he has brown skin, Vivek Ramaswamy was down out in front of the courthouse and had a little bit of an oopsie moment. I mean, this is honestly like, I feel like, I should make it clear, I'm not a trained psychologist. I mean, I've been to therapy.
Wait, listening to the show isn't therapy?
And I think for some people the show is therapy. But I imagine if I was a trained psychiatrist, I could write an extensive paper on the week that Vivek Ramaswamy has had, where he had to basically pretend that Ann Coulter didn't insult him or really millions and millions of people by saying, I would never vote for you because you're Indian. You're not American enough because you're only a first generation American. And so armed with that type of humiliation, he goes down to humiliate himself in service of Donald Trump, who will never pick him for vice president, probably never pick him for anything, maybe commerce secretary, depending on how much money he puts into the campaign. And but the slight nub of self-respect comes through in this Freudian slip.
I'm here, and all of us are here as friends of Donald Trump, supporting him in our personal capacity, sharing our opinions. That's why we're here today. But I hope every American at home who isn't able to be in that courtroom is able to see what's actually happening there. And when you do, we will have a landslide of historic proportion this November if every American understands the injustice that's playing out in that courtroom today. So may God bless our country. I pray for our future, and let's pray for our country being stronger on the other side of this disgusting sham politician prosecution. Doug, thank you.
Sham politician. Prosecution. Yeah. Doug Burgum, you're next up to humiliate yourself. This is honestly like it really is. There's like a weird, creepy, like fraternity hazing quality to this. Here is Speaker Johnson. Speaking of weird fraternity hazing cases, where he comes out and this is arguably the most powerful Republican in the country right now. Mitch McConnell is a lame duck. And here is the Speaker of the House. I think unequivocally the most powerful Republican in the country. Highest elected official by far. And here he is basically doing public relations for Donald Trump out in front of a courtroom.
President Trump is a friend, and I wanted to be here to support him. I'm here speaking with you outside because the court won't allow us to speak inside the building. That's just one of the many things that are wrong here. This is the fifth week that President Trump has been in court for this sham of a trial. They are doing this intentionally to keep him here and keep him off of the campaign trail. And I think everybody in the country can see that for what it is. I'm an attorney. I'm a former litigator myself. I am disgusted by what is happening here. What is being done here to our entire system of justice overall. The people are losing faith right now in this country, in our institutions. They're losing faith in our system of justice. And the reason for that is because they see it being abused as it is being done here in New York. The facts here are very important. Facts are always important in a trial, or at least they're supposed to be. The president's actions in this matter were previously reviewed and no charges were filed. Why is that?
He was president.
There's no crime here. Now, 8 years later, suddenly they've resurrected this thing. They brought it back. And why is that? Well, just apply common sense. Everyone can see. It's painfully obvious that we're now 6 months out from an election day. And that's the reason. That is the reason why they brought these charges here and across the country.
It's interesting that he says sham as well. It's almost as if someone said, say sham. But don't say me, sham.
Yeah, it's the whole process I'm involved in.
Yeah, right.
Not me.
And then throw in your stuff about faith, Mike, because people like that when you talk about faith.
And make sure Vivek says to pray for me.
We will later in the program play some clips of Marjorie Taylor Greene, who apparently was very angry that Mike Johnson went up there and she didn't get an invite. I think only.
It's not a birthday party, Marjorie.
I only have men talk for me too. That's it. Sorry, it's not a girl thing.
They're advisors, okay? I don't get advice from a woman.
We need all guys, all dressed like me. They're all
wearing the red tie.
Red tie, blue suit. I mean, we need everybody because it's got to be like me talking, but not me. So, sorry, Marge, you're great, but
Are you going to wear a red tie?
not going to be there. I mean, it's so creepy. And frankly, I think like the irony is, I think Trump would be doing a lot worse if he were out and about.
Definitely.
The idea that somehow this prosecution is going to prevent him from running or inhibit his, I just don't buy that people are going to hold it against him. But you know what they're very smart to do is not talk about the facts of the case because they don't want to remind their constituents like, oh yeah, no, he paid money because he had an affair with a sex worker, and it's complicated.
I did it for you.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.